adapted by the world of black and white. To end the racism, you know we've got to fight, so we must
Okay, well, so I found this potato laying on the ground, and I had to just wash my potato, and it tasted a lot better that way. And I'm trying to figure out what the hell I'm doing here on this planet. And so I started this radio show, and this buddy of mine, Ramon, and I got together, and it was amazing. And here we are, and we're doing a radio show, and we're rambling and talking.
Other people are starting to wash their potatoes.
Yeah, other people are washing their potatoes now too, which is interesting. And
so, if you haven't figured out what we're talking about yet, we're talking about the 100th Monkey theory on the 100th Monkey radio show.
You know, I'm really actually, Ramon, noticing that that spread of consciousness, even in areas that I least suspected it. I had a guy come up to me at work the other day. This was the end of last week. And he just a hell of a nice guy, but he's completely in the box, all the way third dimensional. And he's mid-60s guy. He's kind of he's retired once and he's back to work there just for something to do type guy. And he came up to me and he stopped me and he said, "Tom, you mind if I talk to you for a minute?" And I said, "Oh, no, absolutely, Lee." And he said, "I've been noticing some really weird things happening in our world." And he said, "What do you think about all this whole Wall Street thing and all this banking stuff?" He says, "This is really starting to disturb me." He said, "All this, what they're doing with our money system, and he said that there's some real crooks up there, and and this guy, and he even said, and I'm about as average as they come." And I mean, this is a guy who, like I said, he's all the way in the box, and he's sitting there telling me I'm as average as they come, and I'm noticing that things are changing, and that there's all sorts of crooks up there that have been stealing my money, type thing, and I was just absolutely, I was overjoyed to hear this guy talk like this. I mean, I don't know, I got a glow from it. People are waking up. I mean, it's really heartening. And here we are. Today's November 7th, and in a few days we've got this big 11/11/11 thing coming up, and we have a lot of people waking up.
Yeah, I wanted to address that because many people are saying, well, 11/11/11 is just another number that was made by human beings, a Gregorian calendar, blah, blah, blah. And who was it that made it up, Tom? Do you remember? The Pope?
Pope Gregory.
Oh, yeah, Pope Gregory.
Hence the Gregorian calendar. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, yes, they are correct. It's just numbers that we added to here and there. And the numbers by themselves aren't special. What makes this date special is that the first time, probably in the first time in the history of man on this planet, is so many people gathering together to do an intention, a meditation. And if you notice, they've been trying to hit you with a lot of different distractions. And one of the main reasons that I wanted to do this unofficial show is keep your intention on what you want in the world. What is it you want to see? What's important? Keep that intention. I mean, you should always keep that intention. But this date, you're not going to be alone. And for those of you who are really sensitive, yeah, I'm sure you're starting to feel it already. Um,
Yeah, the energy's been building uh, for this event. I feel it pointed at and focusing on the 11-11-11 is there's a couple threads of energy that I'm sensing, but there's the one surrounding this 11-11-11 has been growing. I really started feeling it a couple of weeks ago, and this week we're getting really close. We're 4 days away, and uh, I'm getting impressions and feelings that the powers that wish they were are trying to throw are going to be throwing as many distractions our way to keep us from uh, focusing our intention on that day. So, like Ramon said, I mean, it's really important to understand that when these things come up, uh, if there's something at your doorstep, there's a fire on your doorstep, you better open your door and put out the fire. But if there's not a fire on your doorstep, you need to try to block that crap out and keep your intention for this, because this is big what we're doing here. I mean, we've mentioned it quite a few times, just that one experiment that from Washington D.C. that dropped the crime rate by 75%. I mean, there's been all sorts of other experiments along the same lines and it's provable science data there.
Not only that, but I mean, sorry, Tom, to cut you off, but most important for you guys who don't buy that, who are too lazy to even look into that, just do the rice experiment that Tom did at his house. And Tom, tell him about that rice experiment.
Yeah. I mean, my rice experiment is still sitting on my windowsill in my kitchen, Ramon.
How's the white rice doing?
The I love you rice. The I love you rice is still, there's no mold or anything on it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious. There's no mold or anything on it. I mean, it's
been almost a year, Tom.
There a year in water for a year on my kitchen windowsill, right next to two other glasses, but it's still not rotting. I mean,
go through the whole experiment.
It's a little yellowish now. It's not white like it was. It's getting a little yellow, so it doesn't look like something that I would dip a fork into and take a bite out of. But I wouldn't be surprised if the thing is still edible. But anyways,
tell them how to do
the hate glass. It's definitely got some decay in there. But with the ignore oh my God, the ignore has got.
You haven't thrown that away yet?
Absolutely disgusting shit growing on top of it. I mean, it is nasty. No, I don't know if it's me being lazy or if I just want it there for a reminder for myself that my consciousness affects my reality. My consciousness affects the material world around me. So for those of you who are not familiar with the rice experiment, it's so easy to do, and anybody can do that. Right now, I've got my sweetie that is showing Ramon my ignore glass here on Skype, and the disgusting shit growing on top of it. You haven't.
Oh wow!
It is.
I saw it. It looked pretty rancid when I was over at your house during the summer.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Anyways. For those of you who would like to try to do this, we have a link on the website. You can go check that out. But it's real simple to do. You take 3 containers, 3 of the same types of containers. You put 3 equal amounts of rice in. You put 3 equal amounts of water in. Then you set them down somewhere. And every day you say to one glass, I love you. You say to another glass, I hate you. And you can add any expletives you want to those two glasses, and then you just ignore the third glass and just watch the results. Just pay attention. Just let it do. I mean, as you walk by in the morning on your way out to work, I love you and I hate you, and go out the door. I mean, it only takes a second a day to do this stuff.
I actually isn't that good too for to releasing stress?
Well, yeah, I suppose it could be, yeah.
Yeah, you can let out your aggression out on the I hate you glass.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, we could break into a whole new line there, Ramon.
Yeah, right.
Stress relievers. Yeah, are you tired of all the stress and hustle and bustle of the third dimensional world? Try Tom and Ramon's rice stress reliever. It's thingy majig.
Anyway,
But yeah, that
um,
that doing that experiment for myself really brought it to home. I mean, it really sunk it in deep in my knowing that what I do and say and project out into the world has a physical effect on the world, on manifesting good things and bad things. And things that I ignore, what really hit me is the way people interact with each other. And like raising a child, I mean, that's what really got stuck in my head about the ignore thing, on how people raise their children. You know,
the middle child.
yeah, the one you love and care for, they're the one you show love to is and express that love to, does very well. The one that you hate, you know, obviously they're not going to do as well. But the one you ignore, oh, that poor child that you ignore has got a miserable life in front of them. So that really sunk into me. That metaphor just really, made me think. So we got coming up in a couple days. Oh, Richard Hoagland was on the other day on some show. Did you listen to that, Ramon?
Yeah, that's the one I sent you the link. I forgot the name of the show.
But anyways, he came on and was talking about some asteroid coming in and hitting the moon on the same day that government is doing their national
Test.
emergency broadcasting system test, where they're going to take everything over for 3 minutes, whatever it is.
Yeah. I want to.
All this stuff is kind of adding up to a huge distraction, and especially for those of us who follow the or have our senses open to the conspiracy theory genre that's out there. And a lot of us people who are on the consciousness path have passed through those areas and are aware of what's happening in those fields. So that's why I think this stuff will be targeted towards the people who are raising their consciousness anyways. Right.
Yeah. With that, I was listening to the Zany Mystic show, and he had on. Oh, I can't believe I forgot his name.
Cliff High.
Webbot.
Cliff High.
Cliff High. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that Cliff High mentions that people should definitely be aware of, and you know, our world is changing, and I feel like it's gonna be changing quickly. You know, you're gonna be here this year, and maybe next month you have to be somewhere else, or you know, things are gonna be changing, and we don't know what's happening. And the whole point is, you have to keep your intention, and if things change and they seem horrible, know that the changes are for a reason. Maybe you need to wake up. Maybe you think you're awake and you're really not. You know, that's including myself in this picture. Not just talking about you guys, but all of us. Because we're awakening, but the process, I don't think the process ever stops of awakening. Because you're always awakening to bigger and bigger realities.
Right.
And truer parts of yourself. But my point is, to keep your intention, and that doesn't mean to ignore the problem, because that's also just as bad as being the problem. That is being part of the problem when you ignore the problem. So with all these things happening, Wall Street and everything, the only problem I find with Wall Street is that the energy is not, it's not what's the question, what's the word, it's not focused. But that's okay, because there's somewhere to go. It's a platform. And a lot of people would just sit there and they nitpick. And I say to all those people who nitpick, oh, they're not organizing it. Well, if they're not organized, then maybe you, that you notice that, should go down there and organize it, or become part of it, and maybe you can help it.
Yeah, there's a certain element in Western psychology that applies and is very visible in these Wall Street movements and these Occupy movements that are going all over the place. It's that mob psychology where everyone operates on the lowest common denominator. So, I mean, it's true. When mobs get together, the mob tends to do and be much less than they are individually. And I don't know how or why this phenomena happens, but like you look back in in our history, these mob hangings where they'll be mad at somebody, and the mob will get all worked up and they'll go grab somebody and string them up by the neck.
Yeah.
Or burn the witch at the stake. Okay, any of those things you single any one of those people out of the mob and talk to that one single person, and they wouldn't do what the mob did to that person themselves. They would not do it, but they would become a part of it because the mob was doing it. Their psychology, their mentality drops and to the lowest common denominator. And I don't know. I think there's some people out there in those events that have and are rising above that. And I've actually seen some stuff here in Washington around the local Occupy Olympia event that's going on, that are bringing an element of a little bit higher consciousness into the whole event that they're doing here, where they're actually going through and doing things like energy work, where they're playing their didgeridoos, working energy on people, and organizing meditations at the Occupy events. Now that's something that I would like to see all of them doing. Is let's all of them go occupy something, sit down and meditate. Now that would have some effect. I've seen somebody came out with a slogan here recently: "Occupy yourself."
Oh yeah. I saw that.
I like that. Why don't we occupy ourselves? Why don't we, become conscious within ourselves? Look at who's inside and bring that forward. Yeah. Understanding the power of our consciousness to create in the world around us with intention, with focused intention. If all these Occupy events, everybody decide to have an Occupy meditation day. Now there's a good idea, Ramon. An Occupy meditation day. Yeah. God, how would we get that out there to all these Occupy people for the 11th? We've only got 4 days. How would we do that, Ramon?
I think it's pretty much out there because there's a lot of really awakened people in those movements. And of course, they never talk about those people. And, it's just a bunch of dirty hippies or a bunch of uh, rich kids who just want to feel cool. You know, there's some real issues down there and real people who are doing things, and they know. And you know what? I think that wave that people are constantly talking about hitting the East Coast, it's something that's wrapping around the world. And there'll be a knowing, they'll feel the force, the change in the force.
Yeah.
I was watching Star Wars
Yeah.
last night, and yeah, and not to change the subject too much, but I was just amazed on, how much they really with the stuff they put into the movie. It's like, wow, it's amazing, and it's only stuff that I'm starting to get to know now,
Yeah.
and I can understand now when I'm watching the movie.
Yeah. You see it on a whole new different level once you start waking up. When you start
Yeah,
understanding how and what consciousness is.
yeah,
Yeah, I used to watch movies from a complete third dimensional level, and now when I watch a movie, I see the metaphors. Like just the other day, have you watched the movie Hancock? The Will Smith movie Hancock,
oh yes,
where he's a Superman. He's from
an alcoholic Superman.
alcoholic Superman.
Yeah,
So I put this movie on, and uh, Elizabeth and I were sitting out there watching it. I went through my DVDs and I was trying to figure out something to watch, and I asked her, "Have you ever seen Hancock?" "Oh no." So I put it on, not thinking about anything. And as soon as the movie started, I just got hit. I remembered what the story was, and I saw the overlay of a metaphor on top of that movie. And I said, "Okay, Elizabeth, now you got to really watch this movie with a metaphorical eye, because we're going to see a metaphor for our own personal lives right there." So in that movie, I was the alcoholic Superman, and she was the housewife Superwoman, and these guys had been separated. In the past, they'd been separated, and they get brought back together. Blah blah. So, anyways, I just saw a metaphor in there, and which years and years ago I never would have even considered looking at it with those kind of eyes.
yeah, agreed. Um, there's a lot of information out there. I mean, they put out so much information. You just have to know where to clean out the crap that's surrounded by it. It's like having a beautiful piece of gold wrapped in crap. If I show it to you, you're just like, ew, that smells. But the person who takes the time to wash off the crap can find a lot of gold in this information.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why it's seek and ye shall find, but you got to seek. You got to actually look. You got to make an effort to find the truth.
Yeah.
You really have to make an effort to find it, and it's there. And if you really want it, you'll find it.
So, anything else, Tom, before?
Well, I'm just looking at. I want to stress really hard that the next few days, there's probably going to be some world events that happen that are played in a way to cause a lot of people
Fear.
concern. I'll just call it concern. It'll cause a lot of people concern, and it's going to be flashed on the headlines on every media that is owned by those 6 people, which is almost all of it. And it's going to be flashed, and it's going to be repeated and repeated and repeated, and it's going to try to stir up and generate an element of distraction and uh, they're going to try to draw energy away from the energy that's building right now towards something really beautiful. And
Yeah.
they're not going to be successful regardless. For each one that falls into the fear mode and the distraction mode, another one will step up and take its place. So I'm not concerned about this not coming off and not having a major impact on the planet. I'm not terribly concerned with that, but I am.
I think it will, but it's not gonna, if you're busy focusing on the negative, I don't think you'll see the change because I don't think it's gonna be as physical as I think it's gonna be very internal change. I think for a lot of people it's gonna be the oh shit moment. I didn't
Well, that's where the physical change starts, Ramon.
Yeah, but I mean, for other people who are going to be nitpicking, they're not going to see that. That's what I mean. They're going to be like, "Oh, nothing happened on 11/11. See, it was all BS."
Yeah,
But for a
well,
lot,
they didn't get any stats for the crime rate dropping in Washington D.C. for a couple days. So, as soon as they had their meditation, they didn't open up the door and look out and see that something changed.
yeah,
This is the same thing. I mean, we're going to be projecting energy out there and intention out there, and we're not going to open up the door and all of a sudden, everything's sparkling clean and birds are whistling and that kind of thing outside the door. But you know, uh, it will have an effect, and it will uh, manifest on in the third dimension. It'll manifest in the physical reality as far as when you change the people who are putting the intention out there, when you change the people that are making the decisions, when you change the people's frame of mind about how they feel about other people, then you change what happens on this planet. So when that I'm picking on that Washington D.C. meditation. When they did that meditation and they projected that energy out into Washington D.C., they didn't physically, and nothing physically went out there and stopped all these crooks and robbers from doing these crimes. They put something out there, and these people decided not to do these crimes. They didn't make them any less or not a criminal or not a rapist or not a murderer or not a car thief or not a whatever. They didn't make them not be what those things are. They made those people decide better than to do what they had planned to do or what they would have done. They made them make better choices. And that's what this whole focus is. That whole intention that we're putting out there will create an atmosphere where people will make better decisions, will make decisions for humanity instead of for self. They'll be doing more for others and be concerned about how others feel more than than for self, more than what it will get me in the short term. They'll think about the consequences of what they do. And it's strange the way that this energy works and the way this manifestation works and the way this the whole intention thing works. It's just freaking bizarre. I mean, it comes around in so circuitous manners that it's really hard to put your finger on any one thing and say that's the direct result of my intention. That's the direct result of my meditation. That's the direct result. It's really hard to put your finger on any one thing and say that's it. It's because,
yeah.
I mean, but
Well,
the end result, when you look at it and say, sure, you can always say, well, it would have happened anyways. Well, fine. So we just had a nice peaceful, hour or so while we were meditating, and this happened anyway. So, okay, I'm good with that. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
but it's hard to put your finger on direct results on getting that empirical evidence. But uh, I don't know. I think
Yeah.
that the broad results are there's enough evidence out there for the
Well,
results.
I mean, there's gonna be definitely the distraction. So okay, if something does happen through our intentions, which I know that something will happen, what it is I don't know yet. But out there in the boob tube, they're gonna have your distraction. So my point is, open your eyes wider, look around you. There's a change. There's a change happening, and on the boob tube, they're still gonna show everything, and they're gonna have that distraction for you, so you don't notice that people are washing their potatoes around you.
Right.
Yeah, um, I can't stress that enough.
Right.
Stay aware. Use discernment. It's gonna be very very important.
Yeah.
And
Don't believe everything you see on the TV. Oh my God.
yeah, I mean, what I do is I put things into the I don't know and I don't have a fracking clue. Um, those are the two bags I put things in. I'm not really sure. Put it there. Even if something sounds completely far-fetched and BS, I leave it to open into I can without a doubt I can prove either way on the subject. Um, because it's kind of like that, that famous. I might say it wrong, and I can't remember who wrote it. It was either Confucius or Lu Tsao, which I always pronounce his name wrong. Um, you you can't if your cup is full, you can't have more tea. So I know I said that wrong, so you guys can correct me later. But for those of you out there, it basically means that if you already have an idea on how the world works and you know everything, then you can't learn anything new.
That's right.
You don't need to learn anything new. You know everything, so you should be able to solve all your problems. If you haven't solved, quote, quote, all your problems, then you don't know anything and you need to empty your cup out of what you believe is the way this box is shaped. You believe it's shaped this way, but you haven't got up to look at all sides of the boxes and all dimensions of the boxes. We only got our view of three dimensions of what's going on. What's going on the other dimensions? You know, what's happening around you in other points of view of reality. And that's what we need to awaken to,
Yeah.
including myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a constant process. It's a constant process. And
Yeah.
there's there's I don't this is kind of segueing away from this, but I look out and I see all these uh, quote unquote spiritual teachers that are being put on pedestals, that they hang on their every word, and they follow them from lecture to lecture, or presentation to presentation, or God forbid they miss a YouTube video they put out, or anything like that. I look at these guys, and I look at the people that are following them, and this is religion, and I mean all the organized religions have the same thing where people are so dogmatic to this certain doctrine that nothing else has the truth within it. And I look at these people, and I see different people that are in different places on the path. I don't see anybody now. let me see if I can draw this picture that I have in my head. There's a big long line of people standing in line. Like 7 billion people standing in line. And they're all going to the same place. And the guy that's like 6,800,000 is no better than the guy that's standing in position number one. They just happen to be in different places in line. So that guy that's in position number one up there, he has already walked the whole path. He's walked that whole path. And we've got all these people behind him that are going, wow, that guy's better than us. He's like, ooh, wow. But no. He's no better. He's just on the path in a different place. I don't know why I had to bring that up, but maybe somebody out there that listens to this had to hear that. I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's correct. I mean, nobody on this planet knows everything, and no being in this universe knows everything. We're a collective, and we're all
None
experiencing.
are better than another. No one is better than another. We all have the same source.
Mm. And one thing I want to mention too, if you're unsure about something, use your feeling is the wrong word, but use your gut feeling. And what I mean by that is, going back to the Star Wars movies, it's kind of like use the Force, but that internal part of you. Okay, so for example, some of you heard me talk about this exercise, and those who haven't heard this, you basically think of two concepts, and you at the very extreme of each other. So the first concept would be, should I smoke crack? Should I become a mass murderer? And how does that feel in your gut? Of course, we all know how that, should make you feel. Then you go to the opposite. Should I help people? Should I be kinder? Should I go out and help that old lady on the street that fell down? And sit with that. How does that make you feel? And what you're doing is you're building in your gut feeling. So when you see something, you can sit with that. And how does that make you feel? Trust me, your body is not going to lie to you. And there's been plenty of times that saved me from a lot of headaches. And I won't go into the story now, but anyway, when information comes out and people are talking about something and you're really there like, what is he talking about? It's really if it's going past your head, sit with it. Don't put your personal experience onto it, because that's the mistake we all make, including myself, is we add our personal experience into it. And yeah, I know it's kind of hard not to do, but once you do that, you're coming from a point of view that you have no connections with. Hello?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Oh. Yeah. I thought I lost you for a minute. Yeah, so I mean, it's going to be really important because there's so much information and disinfo and everything coming out that really confuses you, including myself. I mean, me and Tom sat here plenty of times like, what is going on, Tom?
Yeah, we do. That's about it. You just got to keep focused, guys, and like Ramon said, trust in yourself. Trust in yourself to have the tools to discern what's right for you, and because ultimately, it depends on which philosophy or which theory that you are subscribing to. But ultimately, we're all one, and I strongly believe that we will all be in the right place at the right time, and we learn from our mistakes, and we we grow from our mistakes, and if we are still at a point where we haven't learned, then we have to go through some experiences to learn. And this whole event right now that's coming up, I think that we have a huge amount of people that have learned. A huge amount of people that have learned. And we've got an even larger amount of people that are on the fence that are joining in this meditation, in this 11-11-11 thing. And those are the ones that I guess we're probably focusing this talk to more than anybody else, is the ones that are still on the fence and haven't quite gotten the grounding that is essential right now for being able to throw out the trash and keep the precious jewels with you. So,
Yeah, and once again, don't focus on the nitpicking. It's important not to focus on the nitpicking. What's the bigger picture? So once again, the 11-11-11, yes, it's a special number, but that's not the important part. The important part is that there's probably several million people that are getting together on this date to focus the intention. That's the important part. You want to put your energy with that and say, what is it I want, from this planet? Cleaner energy, clean water. Let this free technology, whether you believe it exists or not, let this free technology come out. Because, okay, let's say, like some skeptics say, that it doesn't exist and it's all BS what these guys are saying. Well, somebody has the idea how to make it happen. Let that happen. If, focus on that. How is it that we can have clean energy? Because we all know that we can't keep going the same route we're going now. I mean, anybody could tell you that. I think the entire planet agrees on that. Nobody would say, "Oh no, we're doing just fine the way we are." We all know that we're going down a bad path. So focus on changing that path, and that's the important part. That's the most important part about 11-11. If anything else is what your intention is being put out. Number one. Forget about the dates and, this group is doing that and that group is doing this and these guys don't get it. No, forget about that. Focus on yourself, the intention. What is your intention? What are you putting out? How are you feeling,
And, that you hit a key word right there, feeling. The emotion that goes out during these meditations is the power behind the intention.
Yes. It's the gas behind the engine. Yes, agreed.
In there. So, and I'm sure that if you're, especially if you're going to be doing something with some group, that should be addressed by whoever is organizing the group about the emotion being into the meditation. And if it isn't, then you're hearing it here. That emotion is the power behind this whole thing. You have to feel what it feels like when it's done. Feel what it feels like when everything is fixed, when everything is all set right, and what's it feel like to be able to go out to a mud puddle and take a drink of water and not worry about drinking acid rain? What's it feel like to walk out into the street and look up in the sky and see crystal blue skies, clear of any pollution? What's it feel like to know that Mother Earth is now being tended to? What's that feel like when we know that we're no longer fracking her to death? So, put that emotion in there. That's such a powerful part of it.
Yeah, I mean, it is, what does it feel like to not have to worry about your next meal because we provide for each other? We've come up with a system, whatever that system may be, we've come up with a system where everybody can eat. What does that feel like? What does it feel like to never, that let's say you just had a child and that child has never seen a homeless person because it doesn't exist anymore.
What's
What
it
does that feel
what
like?
what's it feel like to live on a planet you don't have to pay to live?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What's that feel like? I think it feels pretty good.
Yeah. And you know, and if you're having problems with that, then focus on something that made you really happy. Not that brand new toy that you got, but what something happened in your life that made you this overjoy. You know, I remember I would go to clubs in New York City when I was really into dancing, and they would play a song, and this joy would just burst through me. And that's the kind of joy that you focus on. And then I would dance, and people would be like, "How did you do that move?" And I said, "I have no idea." But because I was in my true essence, So find that true essence of yours and push that out into the universe.
Yeah.
And as they say, whatever you put out, you get back tenfold. So guess what? You're gonna get that back tenfold.
Yeah. Yeah. It works. Magic is
Yeah.
foot. Call it by whatever name you want. Magic,
Yeah.
spirit, miracle,
The force.
the force. Yeah. It's out there and it's real. Actually, more accurately, it's in here. I'm pointing at my chest. It's in here, and it's real. And every one of you can point at your own chest and say, "It's in here, and it's real." And yeah, it's all good stuff. It's really good stuff.
Well, I think we should leave it there.
Yeah, we should.
Oh, once again, thank you for listening to the Hundredth Monkey Show, Hundredth Monkey Radio Show. If you're catching this on YouTube, check out our website hundredthmonkeyradio.com. And we have a lot of things up. I've also on the gallery page. If you go to the gallery page, there's all the pictures I've been finding on Facebook. I've been putting up on there. So got a nice little collection of all the little cool sayings that you'll see like on Facebook that a lot of people have been putting up.
Little signs and banners and stuff like that. With
Yeah.
little quotes on them. Yeah.
Let's see. So we have a few guests. I'm not gonna mention them here because I don't know when you'll be listening to this. But make sure you check out our show. We put out a new show every Sunday. Sometimes we put extra shows, so be aware of that. Sign up to the mailing list. So when we have sometimes we'll have like extra surprise. So we'll do 2 shows in 1 week.
Yeah, we're keeping busy.
We'll send you an email.
We're keeping busy, and hopefully, we're working towards doing more. So this is
And for all of you who became members, thank you very much. We highly appreciate it. And for those of you interested, check out some of our old shows from the beginning when we first started and see if we're really a cup of tea. If we are, then become a member. The membership goes right back into the show to make it better and be able to pay for itself and allow us to get out there and find more information.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, condemnation without investigation is the height of ignorance, and we love you.
Listen to that quote too. I can't stress that enough.
Condemnation without investigation is the height of ignorance. Good night.
Albert Einstein.